Hi, I'm Dale from Glenarley Pipes. Today I want to finish off the tone chambers using the bass drones. Previous video we did the tenor drones, and received a lot of feedback on that, and yes, the sounds are subjective. What I like and what you like can be different, and that's fine, but the basic problems or the basic issues remain the same whether you like the sound or not, and it's the same as with the bass reed. So I'm using using Dunbar, a Kelleberry and a Hardy, just simply because they're factory ones. Some people didn't like me using replica pipes. While the result is consistent, I decided I'll use 3 name brands just for the basses, and the basses are a lot pickier anyway. The one thing that came out of this is that the basses are extremely picky on reed selection, and that's something that you're going to have to be aware of all the way through this. It's not like it was with the tenors. The bass, you definitely have to worry about the reed. So we'll start off with a bit of a rat bag reed, and we'll work through it. So I'll start with a Dunbar. This it's a current Dunbar. This reed, here's a tuner here, just gives me an idea of, I'll relay that with it. Using the current Dunbar, it's used by bands, and it's a pretty good sort of a design pipe. That's just horrible. It's just really hard to start. Now I'm not using the 2-3 rule because that's really for the unicorn farmers. Hello, if you're watching. On the tenors, the common view, and plenty of people wrote and emailed me telling me this, that the longer they are, the better they sound. The better, subjective, whatever you like. But on the bass, musically, theory-wise, the longer, the flatter they'll be. But some people say that the tone is better. I'm not arguing with that. And if that's what you think, well, then the 2-3 rule is just a unicorn fart, and we'll go back to the maximum length. So I'm doing all of them at their hemp lengths. You can adjust them yourselves later on. The one thing we found out about the 2-3 rule was if we shorten down this on the first joint on the tenon to what people are saying the 2-finger rule, they did start easier. Now I'll use that as an example on this particular, the little mark there for the. So you heard that it just had difficulty starting then. It had difficulty, and this is typical when your strike-ins with your bass can be quite a nightmare for some people. So you can get it there. You can get it to strike in all right, easier than when you have it out on its full length. So that's where that 2-3 rule comes from. It's nothing to do with the sound, the tone, or whatever that people go on about. And you can argue as long as you like. It's extremely subjective, and really it makes no sense at all. Musically or physically, it makes no sense at all to make that claim. So don't argue with idiots. If people want to insist on believing that, that's fine. There's people out there believing the tooth fairy, leave them to it. Yeah, see if you can give it a bit of a thump. It's just difficult, and that's where that 2-3 rule comes from. People found by shortening it up, sharpen the pitch, and it allowed the striking better. So I'm going to put a little filler in there here. Oh, sorry, this one here. This is the right filler for that tone, for that section, the middle section of the drone. Straight in. See, there it is. Now this is a very awkward reed to strike in on at the best of times. That's why I've selected it. But by putting in that filler, the first thing we notice is it strikes in a lot better, and also the pitch. So it's a mid 470s with that filler in there, the sleeve in there, and it is mid 460s when you can get it in without the filler in it. So you can see the difficulty you have. Striking in on that thing is a nightmare. And I'm not going on about the edginess of it this time. Lots of people complained about that. You can like whatever you like, but the fact remains is that it was very difficult to strike in with a full chamber in it, and with a full chamber it was good 10 hertz, a lower pitch, not even close to band pitch, good B flat pitch, which is basically what these drones would have been designed around. Now this one here, I've put in that brown one. Now the brown one is very, very popular, and lots of people use it. Strikes in like a dream. Now that's not surprising, because very small blade, and he's inverted, so that means that they've got the valve much closer to the drain, so the overall length is different. So it's one reason why they strike them better, and a lot of people really like the sound of them. I'm not commenting on that too much, but okay, so that's high 460s with a full chamber, and without a full chamber. Plus up at band pitch, high 470s. So strikes in extremely well, no problem at all. Pitch is right up at band pitch, and we're still at the full length. We're using the maximum length of the drone, which some people insist gives you the better tone. Now if we go to a different reed again, I'll go to, this is one of these big carbon things, so no chamber. Remember, I'm basing everything around that 30-inch mark. This is a good China mark. Just difficult. Fill the chamber. That reed is mid 460s, which is way below band. That's B flat. Now I'll see if I can get it to strike in well with a chamber, but it is quite picky. And that's the mid 50s, mid 450s with a chamber. Difficult to get it to do that, and the big problem with that is I'm having to give it quite a thump, and when it's coming in well over it's coming right up around the chanter pressure, which means that you run a very high risk of getting a squeak. So the pipe major isn't going to be happy with that at all, especially if you get a squeak. Now I'll just try one of these others. This particular, this yellow bodied thing, it didn't go very well on the tenors, but on these I changed the blade on it to a more responsive blade, and Now you can hear it's quite edgy, but there's a lot of people going to like that sound, as opposed to that big thing there. That was, as one judge says, if you're watching June, insipid. That one there, you would say, in comparison to this, that one is quite an insipid sound. But it's only mid-50s, 450s. Now, we fill that chamber. Now we're the high 460s, and we really haven't sacrificed tone. Haven't really sacrificed much on the sound at all. I can see what the software says, but generally not too bad. So that's on the Dunbar. Now if we do exactly the same thing on the Hardy, which is probably around the same era, but it's definitely a different design drone. Definitely different. So we use that same yellow. See straight away, oh, the damn thing fell out, no wonder. Okay, but straight away we can hear the pitch is down. It sounds different than it does in the Dunbar, and that's one of the points that I was making about how dependent, reed dependent the basses are as opposed to the tenors. Now that's mid 450s. Sort of coming in alright, not too bad. It's nowhere near as edgy in this as it was in the Dunbar, you'll notice, but it's up there. It's working alright, and it came in okay. Now we're over 470. Comes in fine. So I'll try this with a reed that we know was difficult, and then I'll try it with that brown one, which we know was really had a good response and not a bad sound to it either. So this is with the chamber filled up. Now that's up around 478, 479 in pitch. Doesn't sound particularly nice, that's for sure, but it does strike in clean. It was very easy to get it to strike in, so from that perspective it's not a bad result. Okay, now that's the mid 460s, and I could only just get the damn thing to come in. It's not a nice reed at all in that drone. It's quite a terrible reed in that drone. I don't like the sound of them at all, but it's very difficult to strike in as well. Without that's with the full chamber in it. Once you sort of get the hang of it, you can sort of get it. You've got to give it a bit of a half-size thump. You go too hard and it will shut off, and don't go hard enough and of course it roars on you. But with the chamber filled up, same reed, straight away every time. Now, once again, the tone is what it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm not arguing about it anymore. I've done the tone thing. So you can see the same result. When we got rid of the chamber on the bottom section, it was easier striking, but the big winner was it lifted the pitch up, in every case between 10 and 12 hertz. So with that filled up, your bass was at its full extended length, which was, as some people say, gives you the better tone, and easy to strike in. Okay, now the Kettleberry, I'll do that with this Mr. Ugly first. Comes in pretty easily, not too bad at all. Completely different drone to the Hardy. You can get it to roar, but yes, yeah, definitely a completely different setup. Now, with the chamber filled up, see, we've got rid of that edgy rattle that it had. And it's a band pitch. Take the chamber out. It's a good 10 hertz lower, and you've got that edgy rattle to it. And a lot of people are not going to like that rattle. There'll be some of you out there, once again hello if you're watching, that will like that. Now we'll put on the brown one, and I can sort of I'm starting to understand why a lot of people like these brown ones. Nice small blade, it's inverted, keeps its distance short on the long stick, nice light little blade on it. Mid 470 straight off the bat, which is understandable with the inverted blade. It's closer to the drone, so effectively you're shortening it out. Starts up really easy. All the way to shut off, it's great. Single tone, so can't be complaining about that. Some people won't like the fact that it doesn't have that edge to it. Some people like a little bit of buzz, a little bit of edge. Some people don't. This one here certainly doesn't have any edge to it. Doesn't have any of that buzz at all, but I mean, I don't mind it. Some people like it, some people won't like it. Now with the chamber filled up, now 483, 484, we're well into band pitch. Once again, the advantage of the inverted reed, the shorter reed, it pitches up. Without the chamber, it was still well into 470s. With the chamber filled up, it's into the low to mid 480s, so it's way up in band pitch. And once again, if that's the tone that you like, that's the tone you like. If I try that, just as a final check, I'll put that big yellow banded thing in it. Well, you've got to get it just right. You've got to get it just right when you blow it. Okay, so that's low 460s, and once again, it doesn't have any edge to it at all. Some people are going to like that, that's fine. Some people are not. Personal taste. Comes in every time, and now it's up at band pitch, 478. So that's as they are. Now the top tone chamber, because we've got two on the bass, so I made a filler up for that. Now, you heard that one there. It's up around 478, tone not too bad. Flattens it off. So by filling the top chamber, it didn't really affect the tone a great deal, but it certainly flattens it off. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like that on the bass, because one of the biggest problems we have on the bass is getting them sharp enough, getting them pitching up enough. Remember, they were all, most of these are designed off old pipes, so they're back at a time that they're playing really flat. So this is one of the reasons that you see people yakking them down, so because they want to get the pitch up. However, fill the chamber and you don't have a problem anymore. You can adjust the pitch exactly what. Now, if you're really clever, and I'm sure there's some pretty clever people out there, a really smart man would, or the average woman, would be able to work out exactly what they would need to do to fine-tune them for the exact reed of choice. Now, you could do that with the tenors, but with the bass you could do that as well. Remember, these don't have to be the full length. I mean, that's the full length of a normal. I shortened this off a little bit so I could make sure I had enough travel to get them sharp enough. I didn't need to use it, but I was originally thinking that I would have to slide them down a little bit more to get them up band pitch. So I could take another 5mm off that thing, and it would still give you the advantage of the pitch, it would still give you the advantage of the easy strike in, and it would just give you a little bit more travel for fine tuning. So what do we find out about the bass? The first thing is the bass is very picky on the reed, pickier than the tenors. You do have to get, and I guess that's why you find a lot of people using one make of tenor and a completely different make of bass, because they're after a particular bass sound. That's reasonable enough. Some drones won't like some reeds. The tenors work fine with the make of reed, and they will not work fine with the bass reed that comes with that set. So they end up finding that using a different one. That is also very understandable based on what I've seen in this test. The inverted reed, well, they've been around for a long time anyway, but on this particular one, on these brown ones, they've done something right. Exactly what it is, I'll work it out when I measure it, but the point is that they've done something pretty well right. The strike-ins work well with or without a chamber. The tone sounds pretty good with or without a chamber. There's a little bit of difference here, and the software tells you what it is, but to the naked ear it's not too bad. Big difference is the pitch. So you could adjust the pitch of your bass to get it up to your band pitch, especially those people up there with that fingernails down the blackboard pitch, or up, you know, the mid 480s. I think there's still a few people out there persisting with that. I notice some of the bands have definitely come down now, but for those of you that are persisting up at that pitch, well, those inverted reeds will definitely do it, and if you put a filler in there, you'll definitely get there without sacrificing too much on the sound. So that's the drones, that's the chambers on the drones. The overall result is that the bottom chamber is a big result, top chamber flattens them off, but it doesn't really give you much of a result. There were a couple of drones, oddball drones that I tried. Tweedy was one. It's just a real out there left field sort of a drone. Bore sizes are all funny compared to most others. It's just a weird one. There were a couple like that where the top chamber did make a difference. Most of them, it was all on the bottom, and that makes sense from a musical theory point of view, from a wind instrument design point of view. It makes a lot more sense. So we gain pitch by filling the bottom chamber. We're definitely more stable and definitely better strike-ins. No question about that on any of them. There's no exception to that rule. Every single one did it. Even the brown one, which was good, it still picked up stability when the chamber was filled, and the pitch increase was definitely an advantage. So that's basically it. If you've got any questions, you know where to send them. Thanks for watching.